Clarity is the foundation of all achievement. Without it, a person may work hard yet still remain lost. Imagine standing at a crossroads in a dense fog. You may have strength, energy, and even the will to move forward. But if you cannot see where you are going, each step becomes uncertain. Many people live their lives in this way, busy but not purposeful, active but not directed. Clarity removes the fog. It gives shape to your path and allows you to direct your energy towards what truly matters instead of scattering it in every direction. When you are clear about what you want, even small steps carry weight. Goals stop being vague wishes and transform into guiding beacons. The human mind is like a blade. If left dull, it can only press against the surface of life. But when sharpened with clarity, it cuts through confusion and obstacles with precision. Schools may train memory, calculation, or analysis, but they seldom teach how to define a vision. That is why many graduates leave with knowledge but no compass, filled with facts but unsure of their own direction. Clarity also requires honesty with oneself. To see clearly, you must remove illusions. The illusions of who you think you should be, or the illusions others place upon you. Ask yourself, what is it that truly resonates with my spirit? What path excites me, even if it scares me? Without such questions, one lives by borrowed dreams, chasing the shadows of what others define as success. But when you peel away these illusions, what remains is the essence of your own calling, and that essence becomes your true north. The law of clarity is not about having all answers immediately. It is about asking the right questions and then daring to pursue them. Clarity is a process, a constant refining. Just as water becomes pure when filtered, the mind becomes clear when reflected upon daily. Through meditation, reflection, or silence, the noise of the world begins to fade, and what is essential comes to the surface. Once this inner picture becomes vivid, your energy naturally organizes itself around it, and distractions lose their grip on you. Finally, clarity is power because it simplifies. When you know exactly what you want, decision making becomes easier. You stop wasting energy on trivial matters because you understand what aligns with your vision and what does not. The clearer the destination, the faster you can walk, because doubt no longer slows your steps. It is this law that transforms ordinary effort into meaningful progress. With clarity, success does not remain a distant dream. It becomes a direction you walk each day with confidence and purpose. Discipline is the unseen hand that shapes potential into reality. Many people possess talent, creativity, and intelligence, yet they fail to manifest their visions because they lack discipline. Without it, even the most brilliant plans remain locked in the mind, never finding expression in the world. Discipline is the force that turns "I wish" into "I will." It is not glamorous and it is rarely celebrated, but it is the quiet power that builds empires, forges strong bodies, and develops unshakable minds. Discipline begins with small acts, often unnoticed by others. Rising early when the body demands more sleep, keeping promises when no one is watching, continuing to practice when progress feels slow. These are the hidden victories that build inner strength. Schools often reward quick results and visible performance, but discipline teaches patience, persistence, and consistency. A disciplined person understands that mastery is not achieved in a single leap, but through countless small steps repeated over time. It is also important to see discipline not as punishment, but as liberation. Many mistake discipline for restriction. imagining it as chains that limit freedom. In truth, it is the opposite. Discipline frees you from the prison of impulses, distractions, and laziness. When you have trained yourself to do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not, you are no longer a servant to mood or circumstance. Discipline gives you control over your actions, and in that control lies true freedom. Another dimension of discipline is its ability to create stability during chaos. Life will always test you with distractions, temptations, and unexpected challenges. Without discipline, the smallest storm can throw you off course. But when discipline has been cultivated, you carry within you an anchor. You may bend under pressure, but you do not break. While others become victims of inconsistency, the disciplined individual continues moving forward step by step until the storm has passed. Discipline also builds trust in oneself and trust from others. When you are disciplined, you know you can rely on yourself to follow through no matter how difficult the task. This inner trust creates confidence, and confidence creates momentum. Others, too, recognize discipline. They see it in your consistency, your reliability, and your results. In this way, discipline not only strengthens the self, but also builds respect, opportunities, and influence in the world. It is the silent architect behind every lasting success. Inner balance is the ability to remain steady while the world around you constantly shifts. Many chase success by running faster, working harder, and competing endlessly, yet they neglect the harmony between their body, mind, and spirit. What use is achievement if your health is broken, your relationships are neglected, or your mind is in turmoil? Balance is not about doing less, but about aligning your energy so that every part of your life supports the other. When inner balance is present, you move through life with strength and calmness at the same time. One cannot expect lasting success when the body is exhausted. The body is the foundation of all action, yet it is often sacrificed in the pursuit of external goals. Without rest, nourishment, and care, the body becomes a burden rather than a vessel of power. Balance requires respecting the body, listening to its signals, and treating it not as a machine to be exploited, but as a temple to be maintained. When the body is steady, the mind gains clarity, and when the mind is clear, the spirit can rise. The mind, too, must be balanced. In a world full of noise, endless information, and constant stimulation, the mind easily becomes restless or scattered. Without balance, thoughts race endlessly, creating anxiety and distraction. Inner balance means cultivating stillness within the mind, learning to let thoughts settle like dust in water. Practices such as meditation, reflection, or simply spending time in silence bring the mind back to equilibrium. A balanced mind does not overreact. It responds with wisdom, conserving energy for what truly matters. The spirit is the third pillar of balance, and it is often the most neglected. A strong spirit gives meaning to effort and resilience to endure struggles. Balance here means staying connected to one's values, one's sense of purpose, and the deeper essence of life. When spirit is ignored, even great success feels empty, like climbing a mountain only to find nothing at the peak. But when the spirit is nourished through gratitude, reflection, and acts of service, every achievement gains depth and fulfillment. Balance also extends to how we deal with extremes. Too much work without rest leads to burnout. Too much rest without work leads to stagnation. Too much ambition without humility creates arrogance. Too much humility without ambition creates weakness. Inner balance is the art of walking the middle path, not as a compromise, but as a source of stability. It allows you to face victories without pride and failures without despair. With balance, life becomes less of a battle against extremes and more of a harmonious dance between them. Persistence is the silent strength that carries you when talent, luck, and resources are no longer enough. It is the force that separates those who only dream from those who realize their vision. The truth is, every worthwhile goal will test your patience and challenge your spirit. Obstacles are not signs of failure, they are the proving ground where persistence is born. Many begin the journey with excitement, but only those who persist through fatigue, rejection, and doubt ever reach the destination. At the heart of persistence lies resilience. Life does not move in a straight line. It rises and falls like waves. There will be days when progress feels invisible, when effort seems wasted, and when quitting feels easier than continuing. But persistence teaches that these moments are not the end. They are simply pauses before growth. A seed buried beneath the soil may remain unseen for weeks, yet beneath the surface it pushes upward with silent determination. In the same way, persistence works in hidden layers of life, building strength long before results appear. Persistence also requires faith in your vision. Without belief, effort collapses under the weight of doubt. When challenges arrive, many abandon their goals because they confuse delay with defeat. But persistence knows that time is an ally, not an enemy. It understands that mastery requires repetition, and repetition requires endurance. Every failure endured becomes a lesson, and every lesson absorbed strengthens the foundation. This unshakable faith, combined with continuous effort, that is the number R, eventually turns the impossible into the inevitable. Another aspect of persistence is the willingness to embrace discomfort. Success is not given to those who avoid struggle, it belongs to those who walk through it. Pain, rejection, and setbacks are not walls but stepping stones. The persistent individual learns to see them not as punishments but as teachers, each one sharpening character and deepening resolve. While others retreat when the road grows difficult, the persistent person continues forward, step by step, until difficulty itself becomes familiar terrain. Persistence is also contagious. When others witness your refusal to quit, even in the face of adversity, they gain courage to continue their own journeys. Persistence inspires trust, for people respect those who endure. It builds reputation because consistency over time speaks louder than any promise. More importantly, it builds self-respect. For every time you choose persistence over surrender, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than circumstance. It is through persistence that dreams stop being fragile hopes and begin to take solid form in the world. Adaptability is the art of remaining steady while everything around you changes. Life is fluid, never fixed. Seasons shift. Circumstances evolve and challenges appear without warning. Those who cling rigidly to one way of thinking or acting are often broken by change. But those who cultivate adaptability bend without breaking, adjusting their approach while holding firm to their purpose. This law teaches that strength is not only about resistance, but also about flexibility. Like bamboo, the adaptable person sways in the storm yet remains unshaken at the root. Adaptability begins with the mind. The world moves at a pace faster than ever before, and what was true yesterday may be irrelevant tomorrow. To adapt means to remain open, willing to learn, unafraid of unlearning old patterns that no longer serve. The adaptable person is not attached to being right. They are committed to finding what works. This mental openness allows them to see opportunities where others see only obstacles. Instead of being trapped in old ways of thinking, they flow with change, transforming challenges into stepping stones. Another dimension of adaptability is emotional resilience. Change often brings uncertainty, and uncertainty breeds fear. Without adaptability, fear turns into paralysis, keeping a person stuck. But when adaptability is cultivated, one learns to remain calm within uncertainty, trusting their ability to adjust as needed. Emotions no longer control decisions, they become signals to be understood. Fear becomes caution, loss becomes a lesson, and uncertainty becomes a gateway to growth. Through adaptability, emotions transform from chains into guides. Adaptability also applies to action. The path to success is rarely a straight line. Plans will fail, strategies will collapse, and unexpected events will demand new approaches. The adaptable person does not waste energy resisting reality. They pivot, they adjust, they try again with a different method. This ability to shift without losing sight of the larger goal is what keeps momentum alive. While others quit because their first plan failed, the adaptable individual simply creates another plan and another until progress is made. Finally, adaptability creates endurance in a changing world. Nothing remains permanent. Markets rise and fall, relationships evolve, even personal goals transform over time. To survive is not enough. One must learn to thrive in movement. Adaptability allows you to remain true to your essence while reshaping your approach to match new realities. It prevents stagnation, keeps growth alive, and ensures that you remain relevant in every stage of life. It is not the strongest who succeed, but those who can adjust gracefully without losing themselves in the process. Service is the bridge between personal success and collective upliftment. Many pursue achievements only for themselves, chasing wealth, recognition, or comfort. But such victories are shallow and temporary. True success is measured not by how much you accumulate, but by how much you contribute, Dan. When your actions benefit others, when your presence uplifts those around you, you create ripples that extend far beyond your own life. The law of service teaches that the greatest legacy is not built in what you take, but in what you give. Service does not always mean grand gestures or public acts of generosity. Often it is found in the small, consistent ways you show up for others. A kind word, a helping hand, sharing knowledge, or simply being present with compassion. These are acts of service that shape lives. Schools may reward competition, where one's success often means another's failure, but service rewrites the definition of success. It shows us that the highest form of strength is not domination, but contribution, and that a life of service enriches both the giver and the receiver. Service also expands your influence. When you give without expectation, people recognize sincerity. Trust and respect naturally follow, and with them come opportunities, connections, and growth that cannot be bought. In serving others, you align yourself with a greater flow of life, and life in turn serves you. This law is not about sacrifice that drains you, but about giving from a place of strength and abundance. The more you serve, the more value you create, and the more doors open before you. There is also a deep inner transformation that comes through service. When you shift focus from what can I gain to what can I give, your perspective changes. Challenges become less about personal suffering and more about opportunities to help others rise. ego begins to dissolve, replaced by humility and compassion. Service strengthens the spirit, making success not only external but internal. It fills life with meaning because every action carries the weight of purpose beyond the self. Moreover, service connects you to the timeless truth of interdependence. No one succeeds alone. Every achievement is built on the contributions of others, whether seen or unseen. By serving, you honor this cycle and contribute back to the chain of life that supports you. The law of service reminds us that success is not an isolated peak to stand upon, but a shared mountain where each hand helps another climb. In living by this law, your own success becomes inseparable from the success of those around you. Self-mastery is the art of ruling oneself before seeking to rule the world outside. Many strive to control circumstances, people, or outcomes, yet remain prisoners of their own impulses, emotions, and habits. Without self-mastery, success is fragile, easily shaken by anger, distracted by temptation, or weakened by doubt. To master oneself is to stand as both the warrior and the king within, disciplined enough to command the body, calm enough to guide the mind, and wise enough to direct the spirit. The first battlefield of self-mastery is the mind. Thoughts are like wild horses, pulling in every direction. If left unchecked, they scatter energy and cloud vision. Self-mastery requires training the mind to focus, to remain steady, and to choose thoughts that empower rather than weaken. That is the number of awareness and discipline. You learn to guide your thinking instead of being enslaved by it. A mastered mind is not one without thoughts, but one where thoughts obey the direction of purpose. The second battlefield is emotion. Feelings can lift you higher than the clouds or bury you in the deepest shadows. Without mastery, anger can destroy relationships, fear can block opportunities, and pride can blind judgment. Self-mastery does not mean suppressing emotions, but understanding them and responding rather than reacting. To observe anger without being consumed by it, to feel fear yet still act with courage, to acknowledge pain yet continue moving forward. This is the strength of one who has mastered the inner tides. Habits form the third battlefield of self-mastery. Small choices repeated daily shape the future more than any single event. Without awareness, habits can chain you to mediocrity, wasting time and energy on actions that weaken rather than strengthen you. Self-mastery means taking control of these patterns, replacing harmful routines with ones that serve your vision. It is the ability to command yourself to rise when comfort whispers to stay in bed, to practice when distraction calls, to stay true when shortcuts tempt. Over time, disciplined habits build a life of unshakable structure. Finally, self-mastery brings unity to the self. When mind, emotion, and action are aligned, you no longer live in conflict with yourself. Energy flows without resistance, decisions come with clarity, and progress becomes natural. Such mastery does not make life easier, but it makes you stronger than whatever life presents. The storms of the world may rage, but the one who has mastered the inner world carries a fortress within. This is the essence of true power, not dominance over others, but sovereignty over oneself. Alignment is the state where your thoughts, words, and actions flow in harmony with your deepest values. Many people struggle not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they live divided within themselves. They think one way, speak another, and act in yet another direction. This inner conflict drains energy and creates confusion, leaving even the most ambitious person feeling lost. Alignment dissolves this conflict by bringing unity between what you believe, what you say, and what you do. When inner and outer life match, strength flows effortlessly. Living in alignment begins with knowing your values. Too often, people inherit beliefs from society, family, or culture without questioning if they truly resonate within. When actions are driven by borrowed values, there is always friction, a quiet unease, a sense that something is missing. Alignment requires reflection. What do I stand for? What principles guide my choices? What is non-negotiable in my life? The clearer you are about your core values, the easier it becomes to align your daily actions with them. Another aspect of alignment is integrity. Integrity is not only honesty with others, but also honesty with yourself. If you speak of discipline, yet fail to practice it, you weaken your spirit. If you promise service, yet act in selfishness, you betray your own foundation. Alignment demands that words are not empty, but supported by consistent action. Each time you live according to your values, you reinforce inner trust, and trust in yourself is the bedrock of true confidence. Alignment also creates focus. When your actions are guided by your values, you no longer chase every opportunity or follow every distraction. You become selective, filtering choices through the lens of your principles. This reduces inner conflict and frees you from the endless cycle of doubt. Instead of scattering your energy in multiple directions, alignment concentrates it like a beam of light. With such focus, progress accelerates and your efforts become deeply meaningful rather than shallow achievements. Finally, alignment brings peace. Success without alignment often feels hollow, a victory on the outside, but emptiness within. But when your goals reflect your values and your daily habits reflect your goals, every step feels natural. There is no struggle between who you are and what you do. This harmony creates not only effectiveness, but fulfillment. The world may see success as status or wealth, but alignment reveals success as authenticity, the ability to live each day without pretending, without conflict, and without regret.